Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei Extras. Today we shall be looking at MCC Season 5 Kickoff Team Predictions. Now you might be thinking, Wolfeei, I swear we haven't heard from MCC in like 3 months. What do you mean, team predictions for MCC Season 5 Kickoff? We don't even know if the first event of Season 5 is going to be called Kickoff. You're right, you are correct. However, as per usual with the MCC audience, people are curious. What would it look like? It's just a what if. What if Season 5 Kickoff happens as the first event for Season 5 for MCC, hopefully in April, and not confirmed, by the way, and who should be in it, who will be in it, etc. And actually, this was brought up as a question yesterday on my stream. Go watch me live sometimes, alright? It's fun. They're fun streams. Thank you. And other people brought up, like, oh, who do you think will be in Season 5 Kickoff? Who do you think will be in that first Season 5 event? And I'm not sure. I will make my own prediction probably at some point regarding who I think will be in. Probably a video either early next week or maybe tomorrow if I feel like it. But no, probably not tomorrow. Whatever, doesn't matter. First, I wanted to look at what the audience has to say in terms of who they think will be in or what it will look like. I'll give my feedback on team making and if I think it makes sense. And also, I want to hear your feedback on who do you think will be in Season 5 Kickoff, who will be in that first Season 5 MCC event, and who do you want to see in? So who do you think gets in, and who are you hoping to see? Because that sometimes is different. Either way, also, one thing that needs to be mentioned is the only thing we know is based on last year's Kickoff event, Season 4 Kickoff. Scott put in extra effort, confirmed extra effort to make a cool roster. We can assume that he does it again, but it doesn't mean that he will. It's just an assumption, right? We think that could be the case, but we don't know for sure. Let's get into it. Either way, there are, as you can see, how many is this? 9 tabs, 9 sets of teams that we'll be looking through. So this probably will be a bit of a longer video. And we're going to do this in chronological order from most recent to latest because that's how I found the posts. Starting with this post, which is my dream MCC 5 kickoff teams with lengthy explanations. So probably slightly unrealistic or unbalanced. I don't know, just thought I'd share my personal dream teams for MCC Season 5 KO. So, I'm just going to look at it like this. We're not going to look at the explanations, just going to look at it straight up like this and give the thoughts. I think this is a fun team to start off with. Pete, Jack, and Lexi were on the same team for Twitch Rivals EU. That was a really fun combo. I think with Phil would fit very nicely as well. And it would be fun to see Lexi like officially debut in mainline MCC, of course, because as much as there is no canon, non-canon split anymore, typically speaking, the Kickoff and the Haunted Hoedown type of events, the ones that we can acknowledge as being the quote-unquote normal ones or the regular ones, are considered the like official roster events, where if someone's in that event, they are in the MCC Discord, they are a regular, or at least they are an official MCC player, as opposed to, for example, in Pride, you'll see someone play only Pride events, etc., right? Either way, interesting team to start off. Yeah, would be fun. I think it would be cool to see Pete in this type of environment again, because I think it's very different. I feel like he usually gets a very chill type of team. This is a bit more of a high energy type of team, so I like it. Next up, Dave, Beck, H, and Michael. This feels like it could be kind of strong. Maybe I'm wrong. Feels kind of strong, but sure. Then you have Jojo, Elena, Michaela, and Haley. I think this is a little on the weaker side, but it would be fun to have another like Golden Gals type of team, right? So I'm in favor. Then you have Purpled with Jerome, Mitch, and Vic. I'm just going to throw it out there. Don't expect this to happen. If you want to just see it happen, of course, it's cool. I don't think Vic has ever... I mean, I guess you never know. Just don't expect Vic to ever really play another MCC. I haven't heard about or from Mitch in so long. Jerome, maybe I could see playing MCC at some point again. But I don't think he would play in a kickoff type of event. It would be like a one-off, like silly one or something. So yeah. Then Falsgrian, Fruit, and Joel. This makes sense. It is a little strong leaning. Keep in mind, Fruit in MCC is very, very good. So give him a team that is pretty good on average, which I would say applies to this team, especially with Joel's recent arc as well. And this might be a little bit OP. But a Fruit and Green duo is always welcomed, and an essentially full Hermit team with Fruit on it would be really cool too. Then you have Scott, Jimmy, Shane, Jimmy, Scott, Owen on the same team here as well. This also feels like it would be too strong. However, it would be fun. I will give my thoughts, though. This is obviously not that big of a deal. I would really like to see Shane on a team with people he hasn't been on a team with before. I'm fairly sure he's teamed with everybody on this team in the past. It would be nice to see Shane with unique teammates again. Because I think it's just nice that way. Applies to other players as well, right? I just kind of want to see different combos that aren't the same. Because as much as you could make a cool roster, if you have 5 really cool teams and then 5 teams that are just the same old, I'd be like, still a cool roster overall, but whatever. Anyways, Hannah, Ollie, Shelby, and Harvey would be an interesting combo. This would be like a pretty chaotic leaning team. I think it would be fun vibes, so I'm in favor of this one as well. Then you have the Simmers. I don't think we'll ever see the Simmers come back in full. I honestly think we're not getting more than a Simmers duo if we ever get another Simmers combo, which I think is kind of showcased by Gluon on Sasha playing solo recently, and then Gluon playing especially solo recently when Sasha wasn't even in, which was I think for Party 2. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And then purple team is sneak boost for Kara and Jack. Interesting. This feels very out of left field. I feel like we've had like almost no newcomer. I guess Lexi is technically a newcomer. None here, none here, none here, none here, none here, none here, and then none here, and then suddenly you got Booster and Jack coming into play. This would be a fun team, I think, for sure. This would be a funny team, at least. I don't think it would make a lot of sense in terms of who would get invited. I don't think Booster is on the list as of right now. I also don't really think he's that, like, I don't think he cares that much to join MCC, if I had to guess. But yeah, I think this one would be fun, but I don't know if I'd expect it. And then finally, you have Cleo, Amy, Ant, and Big B Stats, which is also a very out of left field type of team. Would be cool though. Definitely a bit on the weaker side, but I would like to see something like this happen. Not sure if it would be on pink, but I guess with the roster you have cooked up here, it would make sense. Anyways, next up, we have this one. MCC 5 KO team predictions, also 4 newcomers in Mumbo, Doc, Ross Cumber, and Pixel Riffs, also 4 being from Rising. Let's take a look. Jojo, Flip, Jimmy, and Pixel Riffs. Sure, could be fun. Orange is Fine, Smant, Kara, and Sniff. This would be cool. Just a Fine and Smant duo would be really, really sick, of course. It feels like it could be kind of a strong team, though, but I guess this red team is pretty good, too. So, I don't know. This orange team, just Feinberg is Feinberg, you know? Yellow is Owen, Phil, Beck, and Michaela. Also feels like a really good team. 3 people that I would say are nowadays would be the second frag slot on a team. 3 of them on the same team is kind of crazy, but I guess that could be balanced, right? Then you have on Lime, Fruit, H, Scar, and Ross. Feels like an interesting spot to fit Ross. I feel like Ross has a lot of places they could go, but I feel like this would work, but would be one of the less straightforward approaches in terms of how to include Ross into a team set. Also, Fruit and H is a very strong duo. I do not expect Fruit to get a second frag as good as H-Bomb. Then green, you have Purpled, Jordan, Shelby, and Puffy, which would be pretty fun team as well. I'm fairly sure, was it Purpled or was it Fruit? I think it was Fruit who was teamed with Jordan and Shelby recently, and that was a pretty fun team. So it was Fruit because Fruit pulled off that like crazy play. In Battle Box. I think that was the team. I could be wrong. I'm fairly sure that was the team though, but this would be cool. Cyan, you have Hannah, Forsey, Impulse, and Skiz. I would love to see something like this. This would be super cool. Lifesteal duo paired up with Imp and Skiz. I do think this would be a bit repetitive in the sense of, you know, Fruit instead of Forsey is a repeat team if this were to be the case. So I don't think we'll see it happen, but I do want to see Forsey, and I think Forsey would be really cool. Then on Aqua, you have SB, Martin, Ollie, and Eloise. I could see this happen, I guess, right? SB would be fun to see in again. I think there's a decent chance that he'll be in, assuming that he is reminded of signing up, because I will say, I think there's a lot of people in the audience that have a misunderstanding of how much SB has actually signed up for MCC. Fairly sure the number is very, very low. So Yeah, I don't think he's been benched that often. He's just not signed up. And then blue team, you have Shane, Haley, False, and Ren. I think this would be really, really good in terms of a type of team to make. Not only does Shane get 2 Hermits that he hasn't teamed with before, also gets to team with Haley, and I think this is a pretty balanced combination. So I think this would be a really good team. Like, take notes. This good. Purple team, you have Ant, Joel, Jem, and Doc. I think this is also a little strong leaning, though I guess every team so far has been kind of leaning that way. So a little strong leaning considering Ant. I feel like it might be getting underrated a little bit here. Ant is like top 5 MCC players right now, like no debate really. Ant's been going absolutely insane. And then Joel's recent arc, I don't think he should be paired up with a top 5 MCC player on the same team. And then also get Jem, who is pretty decent, right? For a 3rd frag, is a very solid contender. And then Doc, admittedly, is new, but still, I think this is a little strong. And then pink team is Pete, Scott, Grian, and Mumbo, which obviously we know Mumbo probably won't happen ever. But the Pete, Scott, and Grian combo is very fun, though. I think that would be really, really sick. So I approve of a lot of these things, but it's interesting. Next up, you have, oh god, MCC Season 5 Kickoff Team Predictions. You have Shane, me, Impulse, and Skiz. I also don't think if I were to be given the chance to play, I don't think I'm being given Fire Breath Man as my other teammate. As much as I'd love to pretend like that would be the case, no, it's not happening. I don't think a me and Shane duo is even possible to happen anymore at this point, unless I get to play more than like Twitch rivals, because then I can prove that there is a level of an outstanding performance maybe here and there. Anyways, orange is Owen, Ollie, Beck, and Eloise. This would make a lot of sense, would be very fun. I think it'd be really cool. Yellow is Ant, Joel, Green, and Shelby. Same thing as before with this one. Feels like this would be a little too strong. I guess if you balance it around this team happening, I could see it. But I'm going to assume that Season 5 KO, first event of Season 5, is going to be a bit lower comp leaning, similar to what this ended up being like. Either way, same thing here. Would be a fun team, though. Then next up, you have Martin, Scott, Pearl, and Cleo. I think this is a little underbalanced compared to the other teams, but vibes-wise would be really fun. I think this could be Jesus Christ, an amazing Pride team. I think this would be really, really fun for Pride, so I think take notes, you know? Then on green team, you have Dave, Saikuno, Lily, and Michael Reeves. Isn't this the intended Pride team? Is this for Season 5 KO? Oh, I guess it is. The intended Pride team on green, but instead of the Pride event, it is the KO event. I would not expect anyone but Dave of green team to sign up for a KO event, but it would be very fun. Cyan is the Canadian team. Fruitberry, Smolent, Jonate, and Etho. I think balancing-wise is a pretty fair team nowadays. I think overall it would just be a really fun team if you can make it happen, which I think this is very doable for MCC to pull off. Would love to see this. This would be an insane way. Honestly, Scott's not watching the Mogul Mills anymore, I assume, but Red Team, if it's this, is probably one of the best ways you can open up your team announcements for Season 5 KO. For like a somewhat more balanced roster, because this is like a top 5 and then 2 people around the middle and then Etho like 30th-ish range. Pretty fair team. This is like probably, in my opinion, the absolute best red team they could make for Season 5 KO, assuming that there is no newcomers, but I don't think you need newcomers for the first team announcement. I think you can save them for later, kind of throw them in as little surprise features here and there. So I think this Cyan team, as much as Cyan Canadians is a funny thing, red is the color of the Canadian flag, right? Or at least one of the 2 primary colors. Well, not primary, but you know what I mean. 2 of the most prominent colors on the Canadian flag. The 2 colors of the Canadian flag, I should say. Red and white, of course. Would be very cool. Aqua team is Toby, Amy, Michaela, and Gucky. Definitely underbalanced, but this could be, again, a really fun Pride team. Or if there is room for a more for fun leading team, could be a really good for fun leading team as well. Then on blue, you see Fine with the Simmers. I don't think this will happen either. Because of the Simmer combo, but it is intriguing, it is interesting. On the purple team, you have Pete, Gumi, Abe, and Ryan. Would love to see Abe and Ryan actually happen as a duo, and also just to see Ryan back in general, but I don't think this combo would make sense. I don't expect the Pete and Gumi duo to happen nowadays. And then on pink, you have Jojo, Jimmy, Scar, and Lizzie. Would be very cool. Would be a very fun team. Again, a little underbalanced. I'm sure there's a reason behind this. Maybe there's like a gaming combo or something, but would be very fun. Next up, we're almost halfway through, guys. Sorry, I take my sweet ass time talking about team stuff. Okay, well, whatever. 5KO team predictions, hopes and dreams. On the red team, you have Feinberg, Smallland, Impulse, and Chilled. Would be very cool. Would be slightly repetitive to have Fine and Chilled on the red team again, but it would be interesting for sure. And then orange, Fruit, Joel, Gem, P-Dubs. I don't expect P-Dubs to sign up for an event. I don't think he had a very good time in party, and I don't expect him to change his mind on MCC, at least not for a little bit. Then yellow, it's Sandwich, Martin, Ren, and Mogswamp. This could be pretty good. Could be pretty fun. Could be pretty fun combination for sure. Lime is Purpled, Scott, Shelby, and Tango. Could be pretty fun. I don't know if this is the type of team that Tango would get if he were to play again. If Tango were to be in, I'd expect him to be with either Jojo or maybe like Shane or just Joel, right? But I guess we'll never know. maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Then green, it's Shane, Jordan, Cleo, and Lizzie. Definitely a bit of an interesting combination, but would be fun. It's, again, a bunch of new teammates for Shane, which I think would be really cool. Cyan team, you got Phil, Hannah, Grian, and X. Now, this combo would be very interesting. I think this would be a very, very, very interesting combo. You're kind of hitting a lot of notes here, right? Not only do you have Lifesteal Hermit crossover again, you also have Phil with Grian, which I think a lot of people would be very excited about. So that'd be cool. Aqua team, another full women team, of course, would be very good. Jojo and Haley, I think, is a duo that I would expect to happen at some point. They're just really good friends, so that would make sense if they wanted to team together. Blue, you have H, Callum, Jimmy, and Scar. I think this would be a really fun squad again. I think for a KO event, this honestly is a pretty good type of team prediction. I should be taking notes because I think, honestly, if you combine a lot of the team predictions together, you can make a very good roster. I think this is a very good example, again, of something that would be really fun in terms of team stuff. Purple team, you have Pete, Sneeg, Fwip, and Kara. I want to say that this is repetitive to an extent, right? I think was it Harvey instead of Fwip? That was a team at some point? Pete, Harvey, Sneeg, and Kara? I could be wrong. I feel like that was the case. So it'd be a little, and I think it was also on purple. So it would be a little repetitive, but could be fun. And then pink, Misty, me, Skizzleman, and Etho. Yeah, man. Would be really cool. It would be really cool, of course, and I'd love to do a team like that. I don't think, again, I would get an S tier teammate as much as I, have frauded out in Block Wars and stuff and other events. My one time playing in MCC was a very dominant performance, and I do think that the next opportunity at playing MCC, that will be very much factored in. So I don't think that would happen. Also, I don't think Scott would know that, I don't really know Etho, but, Etho and I are familiar with each other at least, and I don't know Skiz, so I don't think Scott would experiment with me on a team like this yet. Maybe he would, but I don't think he would. So, anyways, moving along. Halfway mark. MCC Season 5 first event teams with detailed explanation. Well, we're going to skip the detailed explanation because, of course, but let's get into it. Shane, Joel, Skiz, and Tango would be very cool. Again, I keep saying this about a lot of these teams, but that is true. A lot of these teams are very cool. I think Shane and Joel is a little too soon to happen again. It would be cool to see in the KO event again, but I feel like it's too soon for them to get that to happen again. Unless there was like a Hermit duo that really needed like a pretty strong duo to happen, and then Shane and Joel would make a lot of sense. For example, Tango I think is a good example of someone who could be on a duo like that. Maybe Tango and X. Well, that would be a little repetitive. I think Tango and Skiz works as well. Yeah, I think this could make sense, but I think it's a little too soon. Then Fruit, Gem, Smant and Mog would be cool. Is Mog Canadian too or not? I don't know if that is like another Canadian combo, but I think this would make a lot of sense. Mog Swamp, I'm fairly sure, does know everybody on this team, or at least I know he knows Smant, and I think he might know Gem. I don't know. But would be cool. Just a fun squad. I think just in general, Fruit and Gem, I don't think have been on the same team together, so that would be a fun combo. And then obviously Smant being in would be cool. And then with Fruit or Fine or Curry, for that matter, any HPG member really would be sick. Then yellow, you got Purple, Scott, Shelby, and Lizzie. I think this is a very solid team to run as well, just because I really like the Scott and Shelby duo. I think Lizzie would be really fun to see feature, but I don't think it's likely for her to play. And then Purple's obviously a pretty reliable top frag to team up with. Then you have Pete, H, Impulse, and X. I think this could be fun. I do think Pete is one of the S tiers that I could see get away with getting another really good second frag, whether that's like H or Joel, etc., right? Because Pete's been having a little bit of a more rough time in events recently, and I think this would be a really fun approach. I think this could be pretty good. Also obviously, the H and Hermits combo makes a lot of sense. On the green team, you have Callum, Toby, Beck, and Ross. I assume this is a full Realm team. I don't know if Beck's on the Realm, but considering Beck's pretty close to Toby, that would make sense. Sure, a full Realm team would make sense to happen. I think that would be cool. I don't know if this would be balanced, but I also don't know if that would matter. So who knows? If they ask for it and it's approved, then of course it is what it is, right? Next up, you got Curry, Phil, Cub, and Fit, which would be an interesting combo. I think Curry does know everybody on this team, but I don't know if Scott knows that, and I don't know if Scott would link these duos together, essentially, right? Because Curry and Cub is a very obvious duo, and Phil and Fit's a very obvious duo. Pairing them together works very nicely. I think they actually have a lot of overlap in terms of how they approach events and kind of the vibe that they bring to a team. But I don't know if that link would be connected for Scott. So I think this would be really sick. But I could also see a slightly different approach. Also, don't know how likely it is for Fit to be in Season 5 KO, although he is someone who I think is a pretty safe addition to the roster if he is interested. Then next up, you got me with Lagundo, Jordan, and Kara. I think, as much as I, like, obviously, me playing, cool. Lagundo is a very interesting newcomer suggestion as well. I do think Lagundo would fit in MCC very nicely. It is very hard to pinpoint how likely it is for Lagundo to join up for MCC. I think the combo here would be really fun. I do think it's a little strong leaning, although the only proof we have of Lagundo in MCC is Rising, but obviously in Rising, he ended up doing really well. So I think it's it would be a little risky to make a team like this where, based off of the stats, I am, statistically speaking, a top 5 player, which I'm not, but statistically speaking, I am. And then Lagundo probably stats-wise would be like, I guess, 15 to 20. And then Jordan's like around 20th. And then Kara's around like 25th to 30, I think, right? So that feels like it's a little too strong. But who knows? Next up, Wally, SB, Jimmy, and Scar. I think this could be a fun combo. I think a lot of these people are a little out of their comfort zone in terms of who they're paired up with. Obviously, Jimmy, and Scar makes a lot of sense as a combo. I do think with SB would make sense. I think a different S tier or a different top player instead of Wally would fit a little bit nicer to make the team a bit more cohesive, whether that's Joel or someone along those lines, right? Next up, Martin, Ryan, Haley, and False. Would make sense too. Ryan and Haley are really good friends, so that would make a lot of sense in terms of a combo. I think Martin's recent party performance showcases that there's a lot of potential for Martin to potentially be on a top frag spot. I do think it's a little too early and too small of a sample size to really pinpoint that. And then False, I think, fits nicely here too. And then finally for Pink, an absolutely ballistic team here. Fine, Grian, Doc, and Etho. Yeah, of course. This Pink team, pairing Fine with Grian and any Hermit for that matter, is a very safe pink team approach if it were needed without newcomers, right? I know Doc's a newcomer, but even if you put like Tango here, very safe way to make a pink team. Even just a Fine and Etho combo would work as well, right? So, yeah. Next up, this one, Season 5 KO team predictions from 3 months ago. You got an all-women team, would be very fun, of course. Then you have Orange Ocelots, consisting of Shadoon, Ollie, and Puffy. Just the same profile picture, I guess, because they're both Ollie. Fairly sure this is like slightly weak, but I guess it could be fine. Don't know if we'll see Ollie gamers at MCC again. It's been a long time, so I don't know. Then Yellow team, 5-up Velvet Boost for Michael would be a very funny team. Having Booster in would be really cool, but again, I already mentioned, I don't know if he is a likely candidate to join MCC, because I just don't think he has shown a lot of interest in it, so yeah. Lime team, you have Ant Venom, Gem, Misty, and Elena. Misty in a regular event would be very fun, though I don't know if it's very likely considering the amount of other high-end players that are kind of waiting to join the MCC roster. And also because Misty already has a pretty much secured Pride spot on a yearly basis, right? Though this would be an interesting way to do the team balancing. I think it's pretty fair, probably. Pretty fair team. Then green team, you got Jojo, Harvey, Lagundo, and Michaela. Again, obviously, fun team. Definitely an interesting approach for Lagundo being included. This is a team where I think Lagundo does know Jojo. I don't know if Lagundo knows Harvey or Michaela, but I do think he would fit in. I think if Lagundo is included, he would get more of a like Minecraft YouTuber leaning team, in which I guess Harvey qualifies, right? But I think like a Cookie God or some of the Hermits or something along those lines is a bit more of a safe approach for Lagundo, and I think that's the more likely thing we would see if he were to be added, right? Next up, wow. You have Callum and Lewis, just, picture swapped. Also, Callum's pictures from about 5 decades ago. And then Akko, and then Nikki. Nikki being thrown back into MCC would be really, really intriguing. I don't think Nikki's played Minecraft in, like, over a year. And then Akko, I think he's in, like, Brazil or something. I don't know where he's at. Akko is on some, like, crazy trip again. So I don't think he would make an appearance in MCC soon, unless he makes time for it, of course. And then Lewis, I think, would be really cool to see in. However, I do think there is the argument to be had that in terms of House Builder Gang additions, Curry is kind of just the, agreed upon next permanent addition, considering this is obviously, once someone is in this, they're kind of a permanent addition. I think Curry would be number one. And I honestly also think with Kyle F joining HVG, I think he also makes the list of potential newcomer additions for MCC. Though I think him and Lewis are kind of on the same wavelength in that regard. Next up, Aqua Team, Wally, me, Blushy, and Sniff. I mean, it would be fun. Me and Wally, or me and Sniff obviously won together. I know Wally decently well. I don't think Blushy is doing content creation anymore nowadays, so I don't think they would be in MCC anytime soon, if ever again. But definitely an interesting twist on what type of team people would expect me to have. Could be fun. Next up, you got wow. Let me just preface. The Blue Bats being Grian, Feinberg, Skizzleman, and Mumbo Jumbo is hilarious. I don't really need to explain why this probably won't happen, but aside from Mumbo inclusion, of course, I think this would be cool, this trio. I just don't think Mumbo is going to play. He's just not interested. Purple team, Scott, Purpled, Chilled, Shelby, yes, would be very cool. I like it. I upvote. And then pink team, you have Pete, Preston, Jordan, and Jerome, which, yeah, sure, man. Sure thing. Here's Season 5 KO team prediction yet again. Red team is Shane, Ant Venom, Bad, and Skeppy. I don't know if Skeppy's going to make an appearance on MCC anytime soon, but the Shane and Bad team is very much long overdue. They've known each other for a long time, and I think that duo needs to happen at some point. whether it's with Ant Venom or whoever, right? But Shane and Bad should happen at some point, I think. Then Orange Team is crazy. You have 5-up, Jordan, and Kara, which makes sense. It's like an Among Us squad, but with 5-up's recent arc, this team is very, very broken. This is very, very strong. But good vibe. It works in vibes, but balancing, nuh-uh. Then the yellow team, you have Purpled, Beck, Cub, and Scar. Sure, feels like a pretty safe, standard MCC team. Lime, you have Fruit, Martin, Doc, and Ren, which, sure, could work, could make sense. I think, I'm fairly sure Doc and Ren, or if Doc were to be in, Ren is one of the people said that he would make the most sense with, and then with Fruit that would make sense as well, so yeah, sure. Green, it's Gigs, I think. Hey, good job to me. I looked at it, I was like, holy moly. Anyways, Gigs, right? Because S was either Skiz or Scar or something like that. Or no, Scar was the G. I don't know, man. But Gigs. Sure. I think if Gigs happens, it would be pink Gigs, not green Gigs, but maybe I'm wrong. Guess we're going to have to wait and see for what the pink team is. Cyan Coyotes, it's fine. Callum, False, and Gumi. Feels a little too strong, but would be fun. I've said this for almost every team, but I'm being for real. Like, these combos make sense. It's just, some of them are a bit strong, some of them are a bit, random, and some of them are just fine. Aqua Team, which is Jojo, Shelby, Shadoon, and Mythical Sausage, could be interesting. I think this is, obviously, Jojo, Shelby, and Shadoon teamed in the first Twitch Rivals with Elena, I think. Putting Mythical Sausage in instead of Elena, fine. I mean, I don't think there's really, much to comment on that. Blue Bats, it's Toby, Phil, Sneeg, and SB. This feels very good. maybe because SB hasn't been in for a while. Sneeg's been kind of on a more of a decline recently in terms of performance. Phil, I don't think has been pulling off like crazy performances, and Toby kind of trolls nowadays. Maybe this could pass as a balanced team, but statistically, I think this would look ridiculous. Then Purple Pandas is H, Michael, Zeus, Pete, also very strong. Zeus third fragging is crazy. And then Pink Team is Joel, Scott, Ollie, and Jimmy, which feels like a pretty safe but fun team. I would definitely swap the green team over to the pink team because I think people would be very, very excited about Gigs. 2 more left. Season 5 KO. Oh, okay. Season 5 KO teams for first event of Season 5 Team Preds. I'm just gonna do it very quickly now because my voice is dry. This red team is fine. Nothing too particular to mention about it. It's pretty fair, I think, overall, and I think the combo of vibes works decently well. This orange team makes sense. I think it is a little weak compared to the red team, but I could maybe see it pull off a better performance depending on the game inclusion. Yellow team is pretty safe MCC team, I think, as well. Didn't this team almost happen, but instead of Fruit it was Shane? Something like that. If you replaced Fruit with Shane, it would be almost the same team he's already had. So it'd be fine. Lime team is a fun combo. I think this would make sense. This is fairly balanced. And yeah. Green team is relatively standard again. Purpled, Jordan, Kara, Gluon. I think is a relatively standard approach. So not much to comment on that. Cyan, is an Ainton Joel duo something that's been requested a lot? I've seen it a lot on the Reddit. But with Jevin and X, I think it's fairly balanced and could be fun. On Aqua, you have H, Martin, Cub, Impulse. Sure. Relatively standard team again. Blue, Shane, Ollie, False, Sniff. Sure. Relatively standard team again. Then Purple, it's Pete, Hannah, Michael, and Abe, which would be fun. Would be fun to see Abe in a regular event, and this feels like balancing wise it's a big question mark. Definitely a little strong, but both Pete and Hannah are very dependent on kind of the environment of the event, including games, etc., on performance. Not to say that they're like, obviously they're very good players, S tier or close to S tier, whatever you want to call it, but interesting to see them paired up again. They already teamed, I think, so yeah. And then pink team is me, Wally, Gumi, and Sasha, which I would like. It would be a fun team. But me and Wally as a duo prediction again, which, hey, I mean, I'd be down for it, but also feels like it could be a little strong. I think Gumi's maybe being underrated here a little bit. Or maybe I'm underrated or overestimating Wally, because I know Wally in MCC is kind of like 15th range player, so I don't know. And then finally, the oldest prediction, and off the bat, the most different. Purpled Smant. Oh, wait, hold up. Snall Ant, yeah, of course. Purpled Smant, Gumi, and Eric. I don't think Eric is ever touching MCC unless there is a Block Wars MCC crossover, but maybe I'm wrong. Would be something. I think it'd be balanced. It would be fun, of course. It'd be Smant and Eric is a great duo. And, yeah. Then Orange, sure. This is a Realm team, I think. Sure. Yellow, relatively standard MCC team. Okay. Lime, you have me, Scott, Shelby, and Haley. I would love this team. This would be extremely fun. I've hung out with everyone on this team in real life, so that was cool. And then green, you have Pete, Pearl, Gem, Doc. Feels a little on the weaker side, but I think would be a very fun approach. I do think Doc and Pete makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Doc with any Hermits makes sense. I just don't recall Gem and Pearl being the ones that were mentioned as like the most makes sense type of teammates. But that's okay. Then H, Jordan, SB, Minimuka. Minimuka being thrown in if SB plays again would actually make a lot of sense because they have done a lot of content recently. They did the thing with Clown and Quiff and whoever, little SMP thing, little series. So that would make sense. This feels a little strong potentially, but I guess I could be overestimating SB considering he hasn't played in very long. Then again, Ant and Joel duo. This feels like when Shane and Joel were rumored to team together, but just a different S tier now. Gluon and Kara, fun two teammates to pair up with them. Feels a little strong potentially, but we'll see. Oh, I guess we won't see. We don't know. Hannah, False, Sasha, and Michaela, I think, is a little underbalanced, but all women team I always will vouch for. Then Fine, Ant, Scar, Mog, sure, this would be a pretty safe standard Feinberg team. And then okay, Jojo, Charlie, Doug, and Misty. It's balanced. I don't think we're seeing Charlie in MCC anytime soon, unless he wants to. Doug, I think, is probably even less likely to play MCC than Mumbo Jumbo. So, yeah, that's my take. Anyways, we went through, how many teams is that? 90 teams? 90 teams of team predictions for MCC Season 5 KO. Let me know your favorite teams that were in this prediction. Let me know your thoughts on my analysis. And also, let me know who you want to see in MCC. I'll probably make a little compilation of a lot of these team predictions and make the overall prediction roster that I think would be really fun. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.